This fantastic story called What's for Lunch is a really interesting one because what's for lunch is something that, of course, infants and toddlers are really interested in their food. It's on in a high chair, or it's at a table, however it might be being presented to them, maybe in a bottle, but what's for lunch? So, what's for lunch? Ants, if you don't mind them tickling your tongue. So it's got lovely illustrations that are very Australian. So you could set up an Australian bushwalk with your infants and toddlers to go looking for the echidna, which happens to be a soft toy, not so prickly. And in this context, how do you enter and exit the conceptual play world of what's for lunch? Maybe you have to go through the kitchen and talk to the chef about this, or you might have set up a box and it opens as a door and you go in and the chef says, I don't know what's for lunch, we have to go and find the echidna. So off we go exploring, and in the space we find all sorts of interesting food, and then we go back and talk to the chef. But then there's a problem that arises. So we're looking at the concept of heat, and heat being a continuum of temperature. And so how do we set this up, this continuum? Is it too hot? Is it too cold? Or is it just right? It's the Goldilocks principle again. So it's very nice to perhaps set this up in such a way that the children can feel bottles with hot water, slightly hotter and cooler, and maybe even ice blocks, so that infants and toddlers who might not have the language can actually cuddle the temperature that they really like, and they can feel the differences between the temperatures. And then you can have some real lunch and explore what temperature it might be and do a bit of pattern matching. So this is really, and then this really sets up a really nice scenario for exploring the continuum. So anything's possible. Any book can be turned into a conceptual play world, and if there's a drama, what's for lunch is very dramatic because we really want to know, because if it's too hot, if it's too cold, really important for infants and toddlers, very meaningful for them.